Some years back, Judith Sills in Family Circle magazine said, "Grand gestures on significant occasions mark the passage of time, but little gestures that sweeten the moment stop time, allowing us to pause to express or receive love. For that instant, we're not going anywhere. We're simply stopped in our tracks, feeling the warmth of our loving connection." Hello once again, I'm Don Jackson. It was Rilke who believed, "For one human being to love another, that is perhaps the most difficult of all our tasks. The ultimate, the last test and proof, the work for which all other work is but preparations." End quote. So, let's explore that loving connection together throughout this webcast with the heartbeat of the internet. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, M.D., in The Wheel of Life, published by Scribner, wrote, "I have never met a person whose greatest need was anything other than real unconditional love. You can find it in a simple act of kindness towards someone who needs help. There is no mistaking love. You feel it in your heart. It is the common fiber of life, the flame that heats our soul, supplies passion to our lives, and energizes our spirit. It is our connection to God and to each other." End quote. It is what makes this life worth living as we move through a world becoming increasingly cold and distant. We form these bonds with like-minded others so that the journey will not be so lonely, so empty. Krishnamurti in Think of These Things, published by Harper & Row, wrote, "To love is the most important thing in life. When you love someone because that person loves you in return, surely that is not love. To love is to have that extraordinary feeling of affection without asking anything in return. If, while you are young, you don't feel love, if you don't look with love at people, at animals, at flowers, when you grow up, you will find that your life is empty. You will be very lonely, and the dark shadows of fear will follow you always. But the moment you have in your heart this extraordinary thing called love and feel the depth, the delight, the ecstasy of it, you will discover that for you, the world is transformed." Howie Schneider of the Newspaper Enterprise Association once said, "The most important thing in life is to love someone. The second most important thing in life is to have someone love you. The third most important thing is to have the first two happen at the same time." End quote. And if that doesn't happen simultaneously, it can be heartbreaking. If truth be told, we wish for a lot of fanfare in the beginning. Gustave Flaubert wrote, "Love, she thought, must come suddenly, with great outbursts and lightnings, a hurricane of the skies which falls upon life, revolutionizes it, roots up the will like a leaf, and sweeps the whole heart into the abyss." End quote. That's the way we hope all great loves begin, with an announcement that even the heavens can't ignore. Pablo Neruda believed, "I love you as certain dark things are to be loved, in secret between the shadow and the soul." More often than not, the great lasting loves of the world blossom like a flower unfolding its petals. And some are secretive at first, and some are secrets forever. Sarah Teasdale wrote, "Those who love the most do not talk of their love." Francesca, Guinevere, Deirdre, Isolde, Eloise in the fragrant gardens of heaven are silent, or speak, if at all, of fragile, inconsequent things. And a woman I used to know, who loved one man from her youth, against the strength of the fates, fighting in somber pride, never spoke of this thing. But hearing his name by chance, a light would pass over her face. An anthropologist once asked a Hopi why so many of his people's songs were about rain. The Hopi replied that it was because water is so scarce. Is that why so many of your songs are about love? Gregory McNamee from Gila, The Life and Death of an American River. And this from Chicken Soup for the Couple's Soul, published in 1999, and it was written by Barbara DeAngelis. She writes, and I quote, "What does it mean to be a lover? It is more than just being married to or making love to someone. Millions of people are married. Millions of people have sex. But few are real lovers. To be a real lover, you must commit to and participate in a perpetual dance of intimacy with your partner. You are a lover when you appreciate the gift that your partner is and celebrate that gift every day. You are a lover when you remember that your partner does not belong to you. He or she is on loan from the universe. You are a lover when you realize that nothing that happens between you will be insignificant, that everything you say in the relationship has the potential to cause your beloved joy or sorrow, and everything you do will either strengthen your connection or weaken it. You are a lover when you understand all this, and thus wake up each morning filled with gratitude that you have another day in which to love and enjoy your partner. When you have a lover in your life, you are richly blessed. You have been given the gift of another person who has chosen to walk beside you. He or she will share your days and your nights, your bed and your burdens. Your lover will see secret parts of you that no one else sees. He or she will touch places on your body that no one else touches. Your lover will seek you out where you have been hiding and create a heaven for you within safe, loving arms. Your lover offers you an abundance of miracles every day. He has the power to delight you with his smile, his voice, the scent of his neck, the way he moves. She has the power to banish your loneliness. He has the power to turn the ordinary into the sublime. She is your doorway to heaven here on earth. Leo Buscaglia, in his book Born for Love, Reflections on Loving, published by Slack, said, and I quote, "Love is an emotion of extremes. It challenges our patience, our understanding, and our resources. It heightens our perceptions and increases our energy and vitality. It is not for the easily defeated or the quickly disillusioned. If we are determined to be lovers, we shall have to accept and acknowledge our passions. Of course, we risk being led into mysterious, uncharted, hazardous places, but we can be assured that our lives will never be dull." Leo Buscaglia's book, Born for Love, Reflections on Loving, published in 1992 by Slack. The author Daphne Rose Kingma addressed this mystery in her book A Garland of Love, Daily Reflections on the Magic and Meaning of Love, published by Canary Press. She wrote, and I quote, We fall in love with one another for reasons. But beyond the causes we know, there is the unknown, unnameable reason, the essence beyond the sum of the parts that draws us inexorably toward one another. We're often good at knowing, acknowledging, and appreciating the specifics in one another, the attributes we recognize and cherish. But real love gives up on knowing every jot and tittle, stops trying to understand everything. Real love stands in awe of the ineffable, the part we cannot nail down or precisely define. Real love celebrates the mystery, the deep, unknowable part in another human being. When you loved me, I gave you the whole sun and stars to play with, and the volume of all the seas in one impulse of your soul. George Bernard Shaw in his writing Getting Married. Merle Shane had some thoughts on love's meaning and its heightened sensations. She wrote, and I quote, "Love is an infusion of intense feeling, a fine madness that makes you drunk. And when one is in love, life can be a succession of free falls while working without a net. Love permits the lover to savor rare emotions and dangerous sensations. And because one is never so alive as when one is in love, full of power, there are people hooked on love who wouldn't consider taking drugs." End quote. Leonard Bernstein, in The Infinite Variety of Music, published by Simon & Schuster, wrote, "We are all still romantics at heart. The romantics gave us back our moon, for instance, which science has taken away from us and made into just another airport. Secretly, we all want the moon to be what it was before, a mysterious, hypnotic light in the sky. We want love to be mysterious too, as it used to be, and not a set of psychotherapeutic rules for interpersonal relationships. We crave as we forge ahead toward the solution of one cosmic mystery after another." I've always liked this writing. Its author is unknown, and it's about love. And I quote, "If you find yourself in love with someone who does not love you, be gentle with yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. Love just didn't choose to rest in the other person's heart. If you find someone else in love with you and you don't love him or her, feel honored that love came and called at your door, but gently refuse the gift you cannot return. Do not take advantage. Do not cause pain. How you deal with love is how you deal with you. And all our hearts feel the same pains and joys, even if our lives and ways are different. If you fall in love with another and he or she falls in love with you, and then love chooses to leave, do not try to reclaim it or to assess blame. Let it go. There is a reason and a meaning you will know in time. Remember that you don't choose love. Love chooses you. All you can really do is accept it for all its mystery when it comes into your life. Feel the way it fills you to overflowing, then reach out and give it away. Give it back to the person who brought it alive in you. Give it to others who deem it poor in spirit. Give it to the world around you in any way you can. This is where lovers go wrong. Having been so long without love, they understand love only as a need. They see their hearts as empty places that will be filled by love, and they begin to look at love as something that flows to them rather than from them. The first blush of new love is filled to overflowing, but as their love cools, they revert to seeing their love as need. They cease to be someone who generates love and instead become someone who seeks love. They forget that the secret of love is that it is a gift and that it can be made to grow only by giving it away. Remember this and keep it to your heart. Love has its own time, its own seasons, and its own reason for coming and going. You cannot bribe it or coerce it or reason it into staying. You can only embrace it when it arrives and give it away when it comes to you. But if it chooses to leave from your heart or from the heart of your lover, there's nothing you can do and there's nothing you should do. Love always has been and always will be a mystery. Be glad that it came to live for a moment in your life. If you keep your heart open, it will come again. End quote. Always remember it was Herbert Shipman who wrote, "Across the gateway of my heart, I wrote no thoroughfare. But love came laughing by and cried, I enter everywhere." Richard Bach, in his novel The Bridge Across Forever, published by Morrow, said, and I quote, "Real love stories never have endings." That is so true. Someone once said, "Love is a fabric which never fades, no matter how often it is washed in the waters of adversity and grief." Stop and consider that, especially when you hear the words of the great poet Rumi, who wrote this truth: "Joy cannot be felt without sorrow, pleasure without pain, love without emptiness. To have once had one's heart touched is to carry the scar of love." End quote. Yes, we do carry the scars of love on our hearts, but they should remind us not to take love for granted. The next time, those scars will give us the ability to see a new love for what it really is, false or true. Julius Gordon wrote, "Two persons who love each other are in a place more holy than the interior of a church." And it was Longfellow who said, "There is nothing holier in this life of ours than the first consciousness of love, the first fluttering of its silken wings, the first rising sound and breath of that wind which is so soon to sweep through the soul." Lord Byron agreed. Yes, love is light from heaven, a spark of the immortal fire. Good night, sweet dreams. I'm Don Jackson.